Let's now address some of the problems that we saw with the code using structures last time. So this code is essentially based on the same structure. The only difference is I've now written a load of functions to go with it. And I'm now going to tell my consumers of this code to never modify these, which in C isn't easy to do. In C++ we have some additional tricks to stop people doing that. Instead, I want them to always use the APIs, the application programming interfaces, the functions in other words. And so what do we got? We've got the original two here, display human and calculate BMI. And then we've got one for initialization called initHuman, one for updating the age, one for updating the weight, and one for updating the height. And each of these takes a pointer to a human because we're going to do an in-place modification. Okay, not only is this fast, but it also means that this particular instance will be modified and no other. Let me explain by running through the demo. So this is the modified or fixed code, and if I run to the breakpoint, we get person 1 and person 2 echoed out, so 24 and 37.89. Person 3, now the original problem that we had was that I forgot to initialize it. Well, with the API there's only one function with the word init in it, and you have to put all the parameters in. So 65 years old, 102 kilos, 1.9 meters. And if we step into that one, we'll see that not only are the properties initialized, age, weight and height, but as soon as that's done, we then immediately calculate the new BMI. So the mere act of initialization means that it's calculated, and that solves the second problem. So there we are. We've got to initialize it now because that's I'm saying only use functions, right? You must use functions, my APIs. Therefore, if they go through that list, they'll see, oh, that's how you create a new one, and you're kind of forced to, if they stick to your instructions. Okay, and then we can display that one out on the screen, like, hang on a second, sorry, like so. My keyboard is now refusing to respond. There we go. The next one, the problem there was that I initialized a structure, but then I forgot to call the function to actually calculate the BMI. Well, as I mentioned just now, exactly the same. If we go in here, just to remind you, once you've initialized it, it's automatically calculated in the initializer. So that's good. We've solved two issues with one function there. And then when we display, it's correct. Now, this is the more sinister bug. And if I think about the mistakes I've made myself in the past, this is the one that's caught me out. Especially as projects get big and code can get separated. Updates can come at different times depending on user input or network or whatever it is, whatever form of input you got. Okay, so we might initialize this human, and we did up here, person 2. But then later on, and imagine this is a very big project, you might say, oh, actually, I've got to update that person's weight. And it'd be very easy to forget to recalculate it. However, update weight will deliver. Because when we step into that one, we pass the pointer to person 2, the address, and the new weight. Note again, we're passing the pointer to the instance, if you like, the particular structure that we want to modify. Now in C++, that happens automatically, and it has a special name. It's called this instance. Okay, we'll step in there, and we get the new weight, we set the property, and update the BMI automatically. So every time there's a change in weight, or every time there's a change in height, the BMI will be automatically recalculated because we're using the API. And so through using functions, or what are sometimes called accessors, we've avoided already some of the most common mistakes and just made it easier for the person using this software to write correct code.